Hey guys, it's Josh, and welcome back to the Not So Bad Bachelor Pad, your favorite podcast for learning how to balance between being a functional adult and a raging dumpster fire. And let's be honest, some days we're all a bit of a dumpster fire. Joining us inside the Bachelor Pad today is Elizabeth Snyder. Elizabeth, thank you so much for being here. How are you doing?
I'm doing great. Thank you so much for having me, Joshua. I'm very excited.
Of course, I'm super excited about today's episode. This is actually a topic that has lived rent-free in my mind for about 2 years now. I love photography. I love your niche specifically a lot because I think there's a lot of beauty, there's a lot of artistic creativity, and I think it sends a beautiful message. Before we get too far into that, why photography? I know,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, no, I love this question. So I have been on this journey for decades. When growing up, my early life was not super healthy or happy, but we had family close by, get us out of our parents' hair, give them some space too. And my aunt, she's like 8 years older than me, her grandfather retired from his photojournalist job and gave her everything that she needed to set up her headshot business and dark room and things like that in her attic. So that day she picked me up and we put everything together. And when we tested it all out and I saw an image appear on paper where there was nothing before, it was like real magic. I was hooked immediately. Like the dark room did it. And I have not put down a camera since. I have held on to this a very, very long time. Life got in the way, as it does for many people. And we had some low dips, but once my youngest went to kindergarten, very long time ago now, I went for it. A friend of mine at the bank I was working at asked me, look, you're not happy. If you had to choose anything that circumstance, age, money, like any of that didn't matter, what would you do? And it was just knee-jerk reaction. Oh my God, photography. And within a year of that conversation, I was able to quit my job at the bank because I was making more money doing what I love than working for and so it is something very near and dear to me. I specialize in women's portraiture, especially because there are so many of us that don't feel photogenic or worthy of having our picture taken. And bringing people who are almost angry sometimes when they have to come in because their boss told them that they need a new headshot to they can't wait to do it again and they're booking boudoir sessions afterwards. So I am very proud and very good at what I do. It means a lot to me that my clients get as much out of it as I do.
We love to hear that so much. And you're right. So often we are stuck in this grind culture where we prioritize jobs or careers that we think is what we should do rather than what our true purpose is. And that leads to just an unhappy life. And we're living longer. So why would I ever want to be unhappy or longer? If
Yep.
that makes sense.
Yep.
So kudos to you for finally letting go and finding your purpose and just committing to it 100%.
Well, thank you very much.
Yes. Photography, there's so many different aspects to it, from headshots, family pictures to, like we were talking, the boudoir shoots. I love that you do it all. Like some people are like, no, I just do this, I just do that. So I think it's also pretty amazing that you can kind of craft a journey with a person. They can come in for a headshot, lay an amazing job, bring the family in to celebrate for a Christmas card with you.
Yeah.
And then maybe, spice it up and just reconnect to themselves or a special little gift for their loved one for an anniversary.
For sure. Yep. Exactly. No, and I absolutely love what I do. But it is definitely all portrait based. So I used to be a wedding photographer. I used to be like just a go out into the field and take pictures for families photographer. But once I got my studio, that's my happy place. That's where I stay now.
Listen, there's no place like home. I get it. You find out what you really like, what really works.
Exactly.
So I guess maybe like 4 years ago, I think it was like 2020, 2021, I had a friend and she was going through a divorce and she was like, I don't know how I feel about getting back out there to the dating world. She's like, I just had a kid not too long ago. I don't know if I'm really ready or if anybody would ever want me. I was like, no, that's silly. I was like, great personality, your catch. Obviously, my words sometimes aren't enough. She had to find it for herself. And the avenue that really helped her determine I am ready and I am a bad beat was photography. She had been approached by a photographer and she did a boudoir sweat. Honestly, she was nervous in the moment. She was like, but afterwards she couldn't look back. The set was amazing. The photographer made her super comfortable, and then the images turned out, and she was really able to see a different side of her. So as a photographer, some of the ways you help people relax from that camera shyness and just really settle into their skin.
Yeah, I love this question. So we are very hands-on here and we start from go. So you aren't talking to my assistant or anybody in the office. You're talking to me right away. As soon as I get an inquiry in and they set up that first phone call, it is me that they're talking to. We go over why you need the shoot, no matter what it is. What are your expectations, how we run our shoots, and just kind of put them at ease of, I'm a pretty laid back person and I tend to attract that. So, like usually it doesn't take me too long to get people like excited and happy and okay, this is what I'm doing, but it comes into cultivating that relationship. So the first conversation is more of a sales call, like here's what it's going to cost, here's what to expect, all of that. And then the second conversation we have is about wardrobe and just putting them at ease of, okay, these colors, these fabrics, like these cuts are going to look best on you. I also partner with a stylist if they want to go that route. And then the work begins in the studio. So once they're here, they're sitting in the makeup chair. We're going through all the stuff that they brought to wear. And we're digging into why you're here, why you're doing what you're doing, what are you most excited about? And then we start digging into, what do you do for a living? Like where are you family wise? Are you married? Are you not married? Do you have a kid? Do you not, like digging into their actual personality. My team is very, very good at not talking about themselves. The day is about the client. And when we start shooting, they aren't seeing me when they look into my lens. It's like a mirror. They're seeing themselves. And a lot of times it can be deer in the headlights, except when I'm coaching them on how to pose, how to emote, how to hold themselves so that, you're going to get the perfect shot coming from the film days. Film's expensive. So you want to make sure you have the shot exactly right before you press the trigger.
That's true.
And then showing them once in a while, I'll shoot tethered so they'll be able to see what's going on as soon as I shoot it. But, I'll show them the back of the camera or whatever, just to get them a little more warmed up, show them what I'm seeing and put them at ease. And as soon as that happens, it just goes. They're excited. And when they come in it's rare that I don't have somebody crying if it's the first time that they're shooting with me when they see their reveal, because these are women a lot of times that just feel like their prime is behind them. They're a mom. They're like, I just got divorced or I just got, whatever it is. And they get to see themselves through somebody else's point of view. And it is profound. Usually when we see ourselves, it's from our own angle. You're looking straight ahead in the mirror or you're taking a selfie from an angle or whatever it is. But it's your perception. It's not in somebody else's eyes. And it just makes me very happy. And I'm right there with them crying when they cry because I can't help it.
No, I could see that. It really is a journey. And I always say this, you're your own toughest critic. I was like, nobody's going to be harder on you than you are. To be in that moment and to see that strong, you're beautiful, that, this resilience. Because like a great shot really can be transformative. That's why some people hold on pictures for decades and decades and decades to be like,
that's a whole other thing. Yeah.
But in this moment, I was there.
Yeah. Yep, exactly.
My little caveat, like I get that when you hear boudoir, you always immediately think, what? And this has always just been my question. And maybe there's like a different like term for it or a different thing for it. Because normally when you hear it, it's like somebody does it for themselves or they like do it for a partner. But I'm just like, is there a male equivalent version of that? That's always just been my thing. I was like, what if I want to look cute for you?
Yeah.
I was like, is that a thing? I don't know.
It is a thing. And I remember seeing it, like I hadn't seen it before COVID. And it started, like, I forget what they called it. It was a play on words between man and boudoir. And I forget what they actually called it. I have not done it. I think mostly because I'm marketing toward women mostly. But the people that have done it, and it's going to be mostly gay men that approach me anyway that want to do it. But there are men that want to do it for their wives. And I think it's fantastic. And there are definitely ways to do it so that it's not like cheesy, where it's actually like, oh my God, honey, you did this for me. That's great. And men should feel good about themselves too. It's not just women. But yeah, there is an equivalent. There was one shoot that I did like that, and it is my favorite shoot ever. My father-in-law wanted to do this for his wife as a joke, but he wore her pajamas. She had like these sock monkey flannel or the dog was there. He had like these big, like massive tools that he was holding.
That's
It
the
was the
memory.
best thing in the world. It was so funny. And even if you're not doing it as a joke, it's still worth doing. Trust me, your wife is going to appreciate it. Yeah, they are a lot of fun no matter who's in front of my camera. Like, they're just a good time.
That's one of the biggest things that I've really tried to do myself and incorporate into the show is, if you guys remember and you were with us in season 1, we did a series episode with Andrew Berner and Philip Mangan, and it was called Let's Get Naked. I just felt that men don't really open up enough. They just don't always feel safe to do it, let alone with another group of men or to
Yes.
like women, especially because they always have this machismo mindset personality. So one of my biggest things is like, I love finding ways that are healthy, that can increase intimacy and just give, like I said, just men an opportunity to bare their soul in a sense.
Yeah, for sure.
But you said like, even like whether it's for a little bit of comedy or you want to reconnect and like do something that you think is not quite Chippendales or like Fireman Calendar for
Right.
another. I think I was just a curious avenue that popped into my head. I mean, you have to ask. We talked about feeling good, looking good. That comes back to that quote unquote perfect moment that I don't think really exists. But you know what I'm talking about, where they're like, well, like I'm going to lose a little bit of weight so I can fit into this outfit, or like the goal just keeps moving. Do you ever have that happen with clients?
Yeah. So usually by the time they call me, they've already decided to have a shoot with somebody, whether it's me or not. But kickbacks to like if I do a show and people are coming, oh, I could never do that. Usually it's weight. It's almost 100% of the time. I'm just too heavy. And my answer to that is usually that I'm good for about 20 pounds just in posing and lighting alone. And then of course there's Photoshop, but I do not want it to look not like you. Like, it should look like you just on a really good day. Nobody cares about your 5 or 10 pounds at all. Like, you are the only one seeing that. Your kids don't care. Your partner doesn't care. Like, it is unfortunately something that we are bombarded with as women from birth on TV. Like, you have to be this person or look this way or use this product or whatever, or you are just worthless. And it got ingrained during, our grandmother's era. It kind of really started to pick up around World War II or post World War II. And then continued from there. And it's so ingrained in our mothers and grandmothers that not only are we getting it from TV, we're getting it from them too, in a lot of cases. Oh, honey, shave your legs. Oh, honey, and that's something too that I have found that I need to relax a little bit on, because my poor daughter, like, she is doing her thing. She's identifies on the LGBTQ spectrum and does not want to shave her legs, and just feels like, you know what, Mom, you're being the patriarchy. You got to sit down. I'm like, yeah, you're right. I'm sorry. Do what you got to do.
It's so, like you said, it's so tough. It's so ingrained in our culture. So such a big part of society.
Yeah,
Especially like social media, where everybody sees it and has an opinion on it. And
exactly.
I mean, like, body positivity, body shaming it's so huge. It's like a huge seesaw that goes up and down, back and forth, and where people stand on it, and like how they operate. But realistically, you're right. It should only be 3 people that matter. You, your partner, and just the people you care about. No kid is like, I don't want to hug mom. She's plushy, or, she's too frail or
Exactly.
anything. Or when your partner really cares about you and they're really in love, they're like, no, you're beautiful. Like,
Yeah. Yeah.
whether it's the way you were the day I met you, whether it's 20 years from now or anywhere in between.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
So you're right. That perfect moment, doesn't exist.
It
The present
doesn't.
is the moment that you're in, I say.
Right. No, and until you can accept where you are, maybe not like it, but accept where you are and accept how you got there. You could lose 1 million, you could lose 100 pounds and you're still going to be upset about something. It could be the loose skin. It could be the scars. It could be the whatever it is that you've built up in your head because you're just not happy with who you are. You don't feel fulfilled. And that is another part of what I love doing with my clients is digging into what they are passionate about, like whether they're going to make money from it or not. What creative thing do you love? Because we may not all remember the answer to the question, what do you want to do when you grow up, in kindergarten? But if you wanted to be a rock star, you're probably still singing out loud in the car. If you want to be an astronaut, you're probably still looking up at the stars at night. You don't ever really let it go. And if you can learn to incorporate it a little bit into your life every day, you just have a more fulfilled and happy life. Like even if it's just a tiny little thing, it does bring up your spirit and you start to glow. And when women are excited about something, we bring everything else into it. We cannot wait to share it with everybody. And that is what's most important, I think, is making sure that you feel worthwhile to have this little hobby or thing in your life and not feel guilty about taking time away from something that you should be doing.
Now, I love that you brought that up, and we talked about this a little bit before we started recording it, finding and living in your purpose. And you were able to do that with photography. But this isn't the only thing you're really passionate about. I think you have something coming up that you also are passionate about that also fits the theme of just empowering women and, making sure you are taking time for you.
Yes, thank you very much. So I just wrote a book, should be released this coming Tuesday. I'm very excited about it. It is called Finding Your Purpose Beyond Trauma and Learning to Get Past the Things that have hurt you the most, maybe not being okay with them, but learning that they are in the past. And that anytime that little voice in your head starts up with the imposter syndrome of, well, I'm not good enough. Oh, why am I even doing this? I feel ridiculous. As soon as you can understand and know that that voice is trying to keep you safe because of past incidents, and you can thank it and you can let it go and then go do whatever you want. Somebody at some point told you no. If you wanted to be a painter, or you wanted to be a cook, or whatever it is, somebody, an adult in your life at some point told you that it was just never going to happen and it's unrealistic, and you believed them. I did too. And once we can kind of recognize that as like, it's fear and we're not being chased by tigers and lions and bears anymore. And it's not actually serving me to be afraid of doing this thing that's actually going to make me really happy. Once you can get there, my God, the whole world just opens up. It is a lot of work to get there. It's not easy, but it is doable.
Every day is literally a journey. Yeah. I was like,
Yeah.
I don't know if anybody ever gets there and stays there.
Exactly. No, you go back and forth all the time. Yeah. But having it and knowing that you can do it, it makes all the difference. And it makes it even easier next time that you want to go and attempt something.
You're right. And like I said, I love that positive mentality that you have, that it's just a light that some people really need in order to ignite their life, find that really spark that's within them. Because somebody who's been doing this for better part of a decade or so, is not everybody thinks they're worthy of a good life or deserve it. And that's always one of the hardest and saddest conversations I have, is that's a bare minimum requirement for me. I was like, you deserve to be happy. That's a non-negotiable thing that I hope, wish, and try to engrave in everybody that I interact with, is at the end of the day, you deserve to be happy.
Yep, 100%. It's in our Constitution, the pursuit of happiness, right?
But,
like, it is something that should be an inalienable right. Like, this is part of our survival. The only way to get out of survival, and that's the other thing, like, you can talk till you're blue in the face to somebody who's in survival mode and does not understand that they, within reason, have the power to rise above that. And it's a lot of times because you're in poverty your entire life, or you're in like this circle of, I've got to work 3 part-time jobs because no one's hiring full-time, or whatever it is. And you can't see past that. You can't see past, I'm living paycheck to paycheck. How can I do this other thing that makes me happy when I'm so worried about paying my electric bill? Like, I'm super good at being poor, like really good at being poor. I know how to juggle. Okay, they're going to turn this off this month, but that one I can wait on, you know, and knowing where all the food banks are and knowing where, all the help is, it's not a place I want to return to. But I know I can do it if I have to. And that is a strength for people. Like, it really is. Like, if you are very good at your struggle, but know that it's okay, that you can rise above it. And it's just a matter of finding something to be grateful for. Like, there's always something. My refrigerator's running. I have heat. I have electricity. I have, enough, like that. You're not starving. Like, those are all things to be happy about, even if your circumstances are dire. Like, just kind of keeping that in mind. But I also know, as a white woman, like, I had a much easier time to get there than people and my sisters of color and, everybody else. So I don't want to like sound like, oh, everybody can do this. I know that circumstances are different for everybody, and it's going to be a lot harder for some people than others, but it's still doable, and it's still okay to take time for yourself and enjoy something in your life.
100%. By the way, we call that utility roulette. Which bill
I
right
like that.
and it's a real life thing, like you said, especially in this current climate we're in. People are working multiple jobs just to not even always make ends meet.
Right.
Working multiple jobs to still play utility roulette.
Mm-hmm.
What's the point in grinding, working your whole life just to look back and to be like, is it really over? What did I really do? Did I accomplish anything? Did I have fun?
Right.
For what we were just talking about.
Yeah. Yeah. And inviting some little part of fun into your life, like whatever it is, whatever your heart is telling you, oh, I really want to learn how to watercolor or whatever. It's still like, it take maybe a half an hour out of your day to watch a YouTube video and maybe practice with your kids' paints or something, and it's something that would make you very happy to do, then do it, like, who cares? Nobody has to see it, like, if it's making you happy, that's all that matters. And if you want to share it with the world, that's better. But as long as you're happy, it's all good.
100%.
Yeah.
I was like, listen, you're the main character of your own story. Everybody else could be written out. You know what? I didn't have this on the to-do list, but I think this is fun, so we're just going to go with it. I don't have this opportunity very often. I had a roommate in college who was an art major, and he loved photography and 3D printing. That was kind of his major. So I got to see a lot of his portfolio. I went on a lot of shoots. But the one thing that he taught me to this day that I still use is how to take a picture. He was like, I don't ever want to see you tilt your cell phone sideways. He was like, learn how to use an angle. Let's get some lighting. And so that's a lesson. That's a takeaway that I got that has really helped me in bartending and everything else. Just having girlfriends, because they go out and they're like, get a picture. Make sure you get the shoes, but also get my hair. So I was like, I got this. Yeah. I was like, I used to live with the photographer. Let me these angles right. That being said, let's ask them for some photography questions.
Yeah.
That way we can level up the average Joe like myself.
100%. I love it.
Okay. So I didn't ask you. Name of the show is The Not So Bad Bachelor Pad. What is your current relationship status?
I am married.
Okay, perfect. Beautiful. That's always our end goal for some of us, not all of us.
For some of us. Yeah. You don't need to be married. That's all right.
Yeah. You just have to, like I said, just be happy. But for those people who are dating, who are trying to not catfish, but still land a catch, profile pictures are really big.
Yes.
So what are some do's and don'ts that you have for like profile pictures, whether it's on a dating app or we'll say like LinkedIn or something?
Yeah. I have lots of tips for that, actually. There are a few people that come to me for dating pictures and then updates for more dating pictures, but everybody has an amazing camera on them at all times. Our cameras on our phones now are well surpassing anything that I had even 10 years ago or 5 years ago, to be honest. And so you have all the tools in your pocket to be a good photographer. I would say, if you are looking for, it depends on what kind of headshot you're doing. So if you're looking for something for a dating shot versus something for work, obviously those are going to be two very different things. But paying attention to
You
light,
say I couldn't do like my like holding a fish pose or like just
the
like,
fish
you know,
holders, I can't even, the fish holders are out in, oh my God, the summertime on those apps that I've seen are like, man, is that all you do? Like, come on. No one cares about your fish. Yeah, so props are like, they're a little cheesy.
no, I
But
listen.
maybe someone's looking for a fish holder. I mean, that might be their thing. But yeah, no, I would say leave the props alone. Find a south-facing window and face it, because that's going to be your best like beauty light, and that's going to bring your eyes out. It's going to bring your hair out. It's going to darken the background behind you, and you're going to be like amazed. So even if you have like an iPhone in that portrait mode or whatever they have now, I honestly don't do phone pictures very often, but yeah, like go easy on the filters. You want to look like you just on a good day. God's angle for women, especially, you want to make sure that you're just above your eye line when you're angling the phone, or find somebody tall to do it for you, because it'll cast shadows downwards so that you don't have like a double chin or nobody's seeing up your nose. And for men, it's going to be more direct. It's going to be more like at your eye line. It's more of a power pose to show that you are. For women, we want to look a little more diminutive. So we want to kind of slim everything down, make sure shadows are right and all of that. For men, you want to take up more space. So you're going to be, bringing your arms out a little bit, holding your shoulders a little different. And you want that camera angle to be right in your eye line so that you're not looking small and you're not looking bigger than you need to be. Flexing is always good too. So if your arms are in the pose, you want to make sure that it sounds stupid, but you'd be amazed by how well it works on these dating sites. Just making sure that you're flexing a little bit, maybe showing a little bit of arm, or roll up your sleeves to about a 3/4. And once you flex, you get all of those, like, you can't really see it in this light, but you get a lot more shadows and highlight on your skin. And even if you're not going to the gym every day, it gives the impression that you are fit. So that makes a huge difference too. And for women, kind of turning off to the side a little bit, getting more of a side profile. For men, it's going to be more straight on and giving that eye contact. And when you're smiling, if you're showing all your teeth, if you put your tongue on the roof of your mouth and then smile, it actually looks a lot more natural than if you're forcing it. And
is that for men and women? Like the
men and women. Yep. Yep. And it depends on what you're going for. So like if you're doing a headshot for like a lawyer's office, you don't really want to show teeth a whole lot. You want to be serious but approachable. But if you're doing something that's going to be like, let's say you own a balloon company or something, and it's supposed to be fun and jokey, right? So you want lots of happy smiles. You might even want props like with a balloon, with a, whatever it is that you're doing. So there are exceptions to everything. But what else? And the squinch. I don't know if you've heard of this before. One of my very
tell me
favorite
about that.
headshot photographers does this. So you just need control of your bottom lid on your eyes, and you just squinch it up a little bit. And then it's just kind of like a serious smile. And it just gives men like this really sexy bedroom look. And it is fantastic.
I might have to work on that. It's almost like a smolder, I guess. I don't know. Yeah. But I mean, I'm pretty sure you've heard of it, but everybody knows, like, when you give that look, like, that's that sexy look, or, it's like you're undressing somebody, but you're not. I don't know if there's a technique for it, but I was like, I hear that too often. They're like, don't look at me with those eyes. And I was like, I'm sorry, these are the only two I have.
Right? Yeah,
And then I was like, if you want me to do it on cue, I'm just like, I don't know. What are you trying?
exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. It's funny too, because when I do shoot men, I almost never have to pose them. They just kind of go into exactly what to do. So for whatever reason, you guys are just like doing it already. And women we're a little more, we need a little more work. We need a little more practice before we're quite there. But it's hilarious to me that almost every single time I ask somebody to sit in a chair and have their arms, kind of like on the arms of the chair, and I almost never have to direct them. It's pretty cool.
No, it's just natural. I was like, yeah, as soon as we sit down, I feel like that's naturally where they go, like wrist, forearm on the knee, on the thigh,
Mm-hmm.
maybe like hands together. You're right. That's how I feel anytime I'm on a stool. I feel like that's like a stool is a rugged thing to like pose on, you know.
Yeah. 1 foot up, 1 foot down, just kind of half a cheek on there.
The good old tried and true. That's right. Like it's been working for a couple of decades. I think I might keep it up.
Yeah, there you go.
We did some do's and don'ts for profile pictures for photos. Now, some people, like we talked about, or like I said earlier, they'll keep the same photo forever and they don't change them out. How often do you think people should be updating their headshots, or if they, or like profile pictures like on Facebook or anything?
I mean, for me, all the time. But what I usually tell people is anytime you change a look, so anytime you change your hair color, your haircut, your makeup, or like the style, like maybe you grew up, maybe you're not in high school anymore, and all of a sudden you're in the professional world and your style kind of changes. Those are all good times to do it. Otherwise, I would say every 2 to 3 years. You want to look like you at the end of the game. Real estate agents are really good about putting their faces on everything, but really bad about updating pictures. So there have been quite a few people that I have seen that have come in with, like, I'm not kidding, 20-year-old pictures where you can tell it's dated, like the hair and the, whatever. And then you show up to somebody's door because that's the card that they have, and they don't know who you are because you're 20 years older.
Really gonna, yeah, I think you have that right.
Exactly. Yeah. So you really do want to find somebody that isn't going to go overboard on Photoshop or even angles. Like, you want to make sure that you look like you at the end of the day so that you're not false advertising. It's not unlike putting a catfish picture on a dating site if you're not being truthful with your audience, especially if you're in sales. So I'm a big proponent of like every 2 to 3 years.
I didn't really think about it like that, but you're right. I feel like that's a good amount of time where things could change or styles, trends kind of emerge or die out.
Mm-hmm.
I have to, like, I can admit it. I'm guilty of one of those people where I probably haven't changed my profile picture in like maybe 4+ years. So, I mean, and that's true. Like, a lot happened. I guess last year we cut, what was it, 14, 15 inches of my hair. So I was like, that's a really big difference.
Yeah, that's a big deal.
It is. I'm never going to cut my hair. And then life happened and I tried to do my own hair. Not as easy as you would think it would be. But once you like cut it or you like mess it up, you're like, you got to even it out. You have something really short or something really long,
Right.
That's the type of bump situation. So
nope, I just live here now. This is where I am. Yeah.
I was like, never was like, just take it all off. And I was like, okay, let's not be that trash. Let's like, it can't.
Do you know how long it took me? Yeah.
It's so serious. I'd say this: the longest committed relationship I've ever been in was with my hair.
Yeah.
What is this? So, shooting this the end of 2024, early 2025. 13 years I've been growing my hair out. So I was like, that's a long time.
That's a long time.
So I'm 30. So I was like, that's almost half my life I've been growing my hair out. And so this was like the first, not even real cut. I think this is like the first cut ever. So, since I had it. So I was like, it was really big for me.
Yeah, that's a big deal.
Yeah. So everybody was like, are you going to keep it? And I was like, it's a big deal, but like, I'm not weird. Like, no, we can get it.
I can let it go. Yeah. I
was like, it's
not going to make a creepy doll with it or anything.
I was like, listen, I want to get rid of it so nobody tries to make a doll out of me.
Right? No voodoo.
Exactly. No voodoo or bad juju.
That's right.
No, but I think, like you said, your profile picture really says a lot about you. Your headshot says a lot about you. Even your family portrait kind of portrays, quote unquote, how happy or how good of a unit you are. I was like, anybody can be good, like you said, for one picture, you can be your best self. But it's important to put that presentation out there because
it is.
That's really the first thing people notice is, do you have a headshot? Do you not? Was this done in your backyard? Did a professional take it?
Right. No, those all make huge differences. I mean, I encourage people to try it themselves. If they get a good one, great. Don't trust AI. I know there's a few AI programs out there that right now that are promising like these gorgeous headshots. They don't always look like you. They almost look illustrated sometimes. Yeah, like they're not quite there yet. But when push comes to shove and you need a photographer, There's so many of us out there, and do your research. And I encourage that with every phone call I'm on, like, do your research. If there's somebody else that you want to interview, do that, make sure that you're making the right choice, because it is an investment. It's not cheap, and it's something that, you are going to have for a couple of years. And depending on why you need it, work or your own company or dating or whatever it is, you want it to look as finished as possible. You don't want to like leave room for interpretation or be like, oh, this AI thing is off-putting, It's like, I can tell. I don't know if other people can tell, but I can almost always tell when it's generated, not a real picture.
No, like honestly, the first time I saw it, I was like, is this supposed to be like a Disney princess? Like, this is not real life.
Right. Yeah. And I mean, it can be fun. Like, if you're just doing things to goof around or whatever, see how it turns out, then yeah, like, go for it, do it. But if it's for something serious, like a promotion or a new job, or, something that really is going to matter, be on somebody's website, whether it's yours or your boss's or whatever, it is extremely important that you look like you and that you are in the best light possible. Like, that's all photography is light. Like, it's highlights, it's shadows, it's straight on light. And once you can understand and grasp what light is going to do in whatever situation you're in, you're a photographer. Like, you can roll with it. Of course, there's the technical stuff that you got to learn, but once you learn light, that's it. That's all it is.
No, I was honestly, it sounds so simple, but once again, if it was, everybody would be a professional, right?
Well, there's that too. Yeah. Well, and everybody thinks they are. There's a lot of side hustles out there that are, they have a great maybe a great camera, but maybe they still have some learning to do because it is kind of a hobby thing for them. But you can always kind of tell who's been in it for a while and who isn't.
We're figuring out. Yeah.
Yeah.
There was a video I saw on YouTube a few years back where it was like, we gave a professional one of those disposable cameras, and then somebody new a professional grade camera, and they both just had to take pictures, people doing everyday tasks. And it was really funny to see how just with a disposable camera, this guy or a Polaroid was getting great shots. And then the girl who was like, oh, I've had this camera for like 48 hours. I was like, they were good shots, but you weren't like, wow, you weren't taken back. Yeah.
Right. Yeah. No, that is something interesting too, because the point and shoots, like, especially the old ones, like, you had no control over anything. The camera just did it. And the only choice that you really had was what film you were going to use. So those, especially, you have to be on your game. You have to know what you're doing to make a picture look good from that, because we've all seen family albums where it's just terrible, red eyes and all the rest of the stuff. And with the professional camera, those are all tools.
Well, listen, I was like, maybe this is somebody's, this is their origin story right here. You're like, you know what? I can invest in a few shots a day to turn into an amazing photographer.
Right? Yeah. No, that's just it. And there are tons of prompts that you can, like, just YouTube or even putting stuff into Chat GPT, like, what should I take a picture of today? There's all kinds of stuff that you can do to be like, if I'm not feeling inspired, okay, well, here, we're going to use technology and see what I should be doing. There's all kinds of stuff that you can be doing every single day, just a tiny bit. You have your phone on you anyway. Yeah. Practice taking a picture with it.
No, I mean, that's a good thing. That's always my resolution every year, is take more photos. But like, I'll probably take like one of myself, like one or two a year. Mm-hmm. And they're like, no, that's not acceptable. You need more. And I was like, oh, okay.
Yeah.
No.
One thing that I would say too, if you're practicing, shoot bananas. So banana skin mimics human skin in photography. So it's not shiny. It's not shiny. It does have tiny little pores in it. And if you get good at shooting bananas on backlight, on front light, whatever you're doing, you're going to get a good idea of how skin is going to react to different flashes and different modes and lighting and all of that. Yeah, that was something somebody told me years ago, and I was so happy to hear that because I did practice on bananas a lot.
No, that's a cool tidbit of information, and like, it's something that we all have around the house, or is really accessible, is bananas. So yeah. All right. Now, Elizabeth, this is my favorite part of the show we're going into, because I think it lets us connect more This is how we become best friends right here. But it also lets the audience know a little bit more about you and why they should invest in you. And that is our quickie questions.
Good.
This is a part of the show where I ask you a few questions. They do get a little more thought provoking, but I don't want you to think too hard about them. I just want you to hear them and kind of whatever the first thing comes to mind, just go with it. Okay?
Perfect. Yep.
Alrighty. This one, it's important to me, whether you're in a relationship, whether you aren't and you're trying to get into one. Flirting. It's a massive thing. Some people are either really good at it, really bad at it. So on a scale of 1 to 10, how are you rating your flirting ability?
Probably a 10. I'm very good at it.
I was confident, no hesitation. You said solid 10. Okay.
Yeah. Well, and if you're in sales, that's exactly what you're doing.
Listen, I don't think I had a choice in my career. I was meant to be, even when I'm training people behind the bar, I was like, listen, I'm going to teach you like 2 things. Maybe how to make a couple of drinks, definitely how to schmooze. I don't know. You just put me in front of people and
I mean, if you're a bartender, that is your job.
Yeah. What's up?
Like, yeah, the drinks, but also, hey, honey, how you doing?
Like, babe, don't be jealous. I don't have any feelings towards them, but I will be flirting with them for like the next however long.
I need tips, man.
Exactly how that works.
Yeah.
That's a good one. I like this new question too. Somebody asked me the other day and I was like, ooh, this is kind of juicy. So without incriminating yourself, or maybe the person won't even hear it. So you can just go to the wall. What's the craziest lie that you've ever told someone who like, you know?
I am a pretty open person, and I'm going to have to think about that. Craziest lie I ever told. I have had my thyroid removed, and before it was very pronounced. The scar was extremely pronounced, and I got sick of being asked how it happened or what I did or whatever. And I turned it into shark attack for a little while because I was just
Okay,
the story. Yeah. Went swimming.
I had this scar on my leg, and I used to tell people I was at a petting zoo, and like a baby tiger got me.
Mm-hmm. Yep, I love it.
Okay, there's something about our inner kid that is always so innocent, so nostalgic, and I think it's something we should connect with and protect. So in that vein, what's something that you used to do as a kid or just when you were younger that you just miss doing now?
Anything physical. I am really feeling my age lately. I was a cheerleader. I played all kinds of sports. Being able to, flip around and do all the things and be like at the top of my game physically is not a thing anymore. It happens as we age to everybody, but I miss it. Yeah, I miss being able to just do the thing and not worrying about how to get up after.
Listen, I was like, even before I hit 30, I had those days where I was like, we definitely we got to take it easy.
Yeah.
Gotta take it easy. I used to say until the wheels fall off, but I was like, nope, maybe we need to add some brakes because the body just doesn't bounce back the way it used to.
Yeah. Snowboarding was a bad idea.
This could be your professional opinion as a photographer. It's a little mix of your personal opinion just as a person. But what are 10 really attractive qualities/traits that a person can display?
Oh, let's see. Self-confidence. So there's a Maya Angelou poem that I absolutely love, and I think it's Phenomenal Woman. I can't remember exactly which one it was, but she talks about being the most confident person in the room makes you the most beautiful person in the room. It doesn't matter what you look like. If you are confidently strutting, people are going to notice. So that's number one, like really being in love with yourself shows on the outside a lot. And it is something that is very hard when you've been beating yourself up your whole life. So that is number one for me anyway, because it is kind of rare to see somebody who's just happy being themselves. And we're with ourselves our whole lives, right? Like we got to learn to be happy with ourselves at some point.
You start with it.
Right. And then I would say for me personally, I really like smart men. I have always dated men that were like very, very much smarter than me. And they're funny and, looks are kind of secondary. I want somebody to make me laugh, make me think and challenge me. And I got very lucky with my husband because he does all those things. Being smart and thinking outside the box and not just accepting what you're told are all things that I find irresistible. I love it.
No, that's a big one. Being challenged, being stimulated is something that never goes away. I was like, looks can change in 10 years.
100%. Yeah.
But I was like, personality, banter, that exchange
Yeah.
never gets tired.
I like tall guys. I like, I'm just trying to think. It's been a while since I even thought I've been married for so long.
Yeah, I just thought you were just going to describe your husband, I was like,
yeah.
maybe like beard, no beard.
Yeah, I don't, so yeah, he shaved his beard a while ago because he had a goatee for so long in the 90s that like he couldn't grow the rest of his facial hair. And I'm like, I really hate a goatee. So I'm good with him being, clean face. He also actually just grew out his hair over COVID. So he always had a crew cut. I was always giving him a high and tight. And then I had surgery. I couldn't cut his hair for a while. And all of a sudden it grew out and he's got this beautiful mane of perfectly ringleted curly hair, and I hate him, but it's really, really, really pretty, and I love his hair. So I like hair. I like longer hair on guys.
I think that was fun. Like I said, I learned a little bit about you, some of your tastes. It's really refreshing to meet somebody. I mean, once again, I was like, I've known you for an hour at this point, but you just seem genuine. And the fact that you couldn't come up with a crazy, outlandish lie that you had told.
My life is crazy enough. I don't need to mix stuff up.
Yeah, it just speaks to your character even more. So like, I can tell that you're just an amazing person.
And back at you.
Thank you. And for that reason, everybody in the Buffalo area, if you're near Buffalo, make sure if you need new headshots, you want to do something for yourself, for your partner, and book a boudoir session, or it's Christmas in July and you want new family portraits, make sure you reach out to Elizabeth, inquire about a session. She's more than happy to talk to you. Elizabeth, before we get out of here, can you tell everybody how they can get in touch with you or what you have coming up for 2025?
Yeah, for sure. So I am Elizabeth Snyder Photography on almost all the social media stuff, or ESP LLC. But if you plug it in, you'll find me. I'm not doing TikTok or X right now, but I'm on Facebook and Instagram and YouTube and all the rest of those fun things. And new and upcoming is that I have been working on this stupid book for like 4 years and it's finally done. It's only like 120 pages, but it's done. So I'm very, very proud of it. It's going to be released this week next week. And then upcoming things for 2025, more charity events. I did a pinup calendar for one of the VFWs here, and I had done one before for crisis services as well. And we kind of got away from that this year. So, coming up in 2025, I'm going to be doing a lot more charity, probably for crisis services again. But yeah, I'm very excited, and I'm just about ready to launch a nonprofit. We'll hope. I don't know if it'll be 2025, but it'll at least be in the works.
It's on the brain calendar, and that's all that matters. Also, we love that you don't just care about enterprise, but you care about a community and giving back as well. So that's beautiful. Yet another reason, guys, that you need to be sending Elizabeth some love. You heard her. Elizabeth Snyder Photography is where you can find her. Also, I don't believe you called it X. I refuse. It will forever be Twitter in my head.
I almost didn't. As soon as it went to X, that's when I left. Yeah.
Anyway, thank you guys for tuning into another episode of the Not So Bad Bachelor Pad. Make sure you like and share this episode with a friend who is thinking about getting new headshots or just needs to update their profile picture and with some do's and don'ts. But I will see all you amazing bachelors and bachelorettes next week for another episode. Until then, go practice taking pictures. Find some bananas. Bye.